Hi folks, it's John from Rainey here just to give you another update on the copyright directive. Now you may remember I actually very recently did a video detailing how via Julia Reader's Twitter page that there would be that the final vote on the copyright directive held in the European Parliament would be going ahead as of next week at some point with no date announced as of yet. But I'm here to bring you a bit of good news, and by the way, I only do say it's literally about good news. Because, well, unfortunately, it's not the end of it. There still is going to have to be the vote, and we will have to keep our guards up to not only get in contact with our MEPs, but also get in contact uh, with our local media as well. That's another good thing to do. Hopefully, you can make as much noise as possible, and hopefully, there'll be so much the mainstream media will probably have no choice but to report on it. So let me get straight to Julie Reader's Twitter page again. Now, the two texts here are read out in both German and English, but I'll just stick with the English right here as well. Try and keep the German one as clear as possible, in case anybody is watching. But I'll read out the English one, which says, at 7 hours ago from this time when I'm recording, can confirm now that the final vote on copyright won't be moved ahead to next week. In case you're wondering about a missing tweet, I was asked not to disclose details of the informal meeting held today. Hashtag save your internet. Hashtag article 13. I mean, this is amazing. Seriously. On earth can this one guy, Mr. Axel Voss, MEP of the EPP, or ironically even called European People's Party, try to push ahead with a vote in the directive he so arrogantly wants to implement any way possible, and please only the big tech lobby, as well as many parts of the entertainment industry, rather, rather than the people who have signed the biggest change.org petition in European history. And then, because of all this, well, very big thanks to Miss Reader for exposing everything that is going on, even though she did have to censor some things herself to mention things, but didn't really stop the people finding out and actually fighting back. And now, because of this currently still at the moment free moving platform internet, he and his, let's just call them the cronies now, have had to turn around and say, oh no, no, we better not hold this vote whatsoever. But, as I mentioned in the beginning of this live stream, now's not the time to celebrate big time, as predicted in some of our posts on our own website. The votes will be held at some point in 2019 or April 15th, 18th, 2019. That's only a possibility. What's happening here? And she did mention that because the European elections are around the corner, the lobbyists, as well as Mr. Voss and the EPP themselves, will try desperate measures because they know that if they can create as much of a space between now, the present time, or when the vote is held, as well, probably beyond next week, and the European EU parliamentary elections, which are going to be between the 23rd and 26th of May 2019, then they will carry out the agenda any way they want to. And plus, because they know that if enough people, including those possibly watching this live stream, were to wake up completely, even in this local area that I live in, as well as all across Scotland and the UK and Ireland and across all the rest of Europe, then they're done with. They're finished. Well, that means if enough people were to do what I politely instructed you to do at this video, as well, it's not me that's always suggesting it. I mean, Julie Reader herself and so many others are saying this. to not only contact their MEPs and flood their emails by saying, no, please don't vote in favour of this copyright directive, particularly don't vote in favour of Articles 11 and 13. As I mentioned in the previous video, I done it yesterday, I done all of it, so now it's up to you to actually join in and actually help out. It could be very useful. Then they will soon realise how so much more of the many do not want to have the few in control of them. That is what they're most afraid of, an awakened population. And it's no wonder. Many of them probably at this moment in time will be panicking behind the scenes. But just as much as we perhaps after this bit of a success has happened and regrouping on how to stand up and say things big time, I've had some of the MEPs I emailed yesterday, particularly most of them from the UK, as well as one from Germany and one from the Netherlands, reply back to me, all saying that they were going to stand up to this copyright directive and actually having proper backbones to stand up against it. This will probably, well, this will probably need to go a bit beyond that, not just contacting MEPs, but also contacting your local media outlets, even if it's just a little letter to the editor section of the newspapers, or even just the national newspapers as well. Albeit, there's not much of a guarantee that perhaps they might go ahead with this particular story, but at least if more and more people start to get involved, maybe perhaps they won't have a choice but to do that. But it was a bit coincidental as well that this vote was being planned to be pushed ahead so that the marches and rallies, not just in Germany, but I've spotted it across also in Poland, as well as in Belgium and the Netherlands so far, as well as one, I think it also was one being held in Slovenia and one being held in Romania. Well, I hope there's going to actually be more and more protests happening, particularly here in the UK, as well as in Ireland as well. I really do hope that the protests begin to spread, because hopefully as of this time, if nobody else plans to step up to perhaps maybe arrange a protest, maybe I could. Maybe I actually could maybe send out not just the leaflets for a plan as to when possibly the protests might happen, but apparently there's some rules that need to be done as well. Because if this is done ahead of time, ideally, hopefully, well, I can only hope that the March 25th and 28th will be the week for the copyright directive vote, or maybe even beyond that, ideally. But there's no guarantee, especially after what's been happening lately. That this will give us time, even as of now, to start arranging what could happen with this protest, because if it's going to be held in a major city like, say, Edinburgh or Glasgow or Aberdeen or Inverness or elsewhere, then, well, particularly I emphasise what the protest application process goes on with Glasgow City Council is like. You not only have to apply a minimum of 6 days in advance, that's a minimum time you've got to apply, but you've also got to demonstrate to the council ahead of time approximately how many people might be joining you for this protest. And once your application has been accepted, you'll then have to attend a meeting with the councillors that are there to discuss what you're planning to do, what is planning to be said at the protest, how many people are going to turn up, how the behaviour is going to be. And ideally, if a protest were to happen, I can only, emphasise that it must be peaceful, that this protest should not really be about, neither emphasise about whether it be, whether you like Trump or hate Trump, or like Tommy Robinson or hate Tommy Robinson, or even just loving or hating Brexit, or even just loving or hating Theresa May, or loving or hating the Tories. No, this is about campaigning for a free and open internet that, as of now, we see today. That is the ideal way of being able to have fun on it, being able to express ourselves, being able to, most importantly at times, be critical of any established systems. without having to face reprisals as a result of that, even in the form of comedy and humour. That's the whole point of it. Doesn't matter what political spectrum you're on. And it's amazing how, when people were starting to finally stand up to this copyright directive, it didn't really matter if it was those who were on the right side of the political spectrum or those on the left. Everybody came together and said, "No, we're not having this." And I really do hope that it grows larger and larger. More people will get involved, and hopefully something will happen. People will start to finally make some, ideally, even as of right now, start to really make some noise about it. Maybe even put out some posters, or be in your local town, or your village, or the hamlet, or even just even some parts of the city that you live in. That to make people, as many people aware as possible, because if the mainstream media is not going to, the local newspapers are not going to say anything, then it's about time you took action. It's about time you say something, because if enough people are informed, then, well, unfortunately, you don't have an awakened population. So I hope many people will start to make as much noise as possible, because if we don't and we lose this battle and the Parliament, the EU Parliament, decides to vote in favour against the will of us, against the will of the many people who signed the petition, well, welcome to the new